make more good in the all-new Sportage X-Pro. Kia, movement that inspires.
Quaker Steak and Lube is throwing open the garage doors and setting up the umbrellas. It's patio season. Come enjoy great food, drinks, and fun in the sun. There's always something happening at Quaker Steak and Lube, but we're really amping up our event calendars for our favorite time of year. Visit thelube.com to find out what's happening at your local lube this season. Lunch, happy hour, dinner, or late night, indoors or outside, at Quaker Steak and Lube, you'll always find big flavors, friendly faces, and lots of fun.
Let's take college Spikes are back home Saturday to start a season-ending homestand. Game time is 6:35 p.m. as the Spikes take on Williamsport, and the first 1,000 fans will receive a Roman Bravo Young bobblehead giveaway presented by the McClure Company. Plus, RBY himself will be on hand to meet and greet fans and sign autographs. After the game, the skies light up with a spectacular post-game fireworks from the field show presented by the McClure Company. For tickets, call 814-272-1711 or buy and download at statecollegespikes.com.
What's the best mid-size pickup? Tacoma. What's the #1 mid-size truck in resale value? Tacoma. Want to get great gas mileage, 4 doors, and 4-wheel drive? Tacoma. Sioka Toyota of Williamsport has over 25 available right now. You can lease a brand new, never-driven Toyota Tacoma for just $379 a month. That's 30 months, 3,000 cash or trade, 10,000 miles a year. This is while supplies last. Buy yours or reserve yours today and see the Sioka difference. And remember, tell them Johnny sent you.
Boom.
Hello, Chris.
Hey, everybody.
How are
Welcome
you?
to the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show. Ironhead running just a little bit late today, so I'm pinch hitting. Just a time. I'm going to fix the camera. Don't worry about it. I got Keith Goon Conlon here with me.
Oh, you look actually normal size next to me right now.
Yeah, well, you know, it's tricks of the
Look at
camera,
this.
right? That's what we call in the industry forced perspective.
Goon and Powder.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we had a nice ride over here today. I figured a new nickname out for you.
Yes.
El Buche.
Mm-hmm. I love it. I love it.
I looked over at you. You were like this. So he's no longer Powder. He's El Buche.
Yeah, I like
Buche.
that. I like that name better. Despite still not ever being able to get out and get some.
Though.
No,
Let's
me
not end
neither.
up that way.
No, not El Duce or
He
El
started off
Duque.
as a writer.
Yeah. Look out. Did you say it's my job to keep the trains running on time?
You
right?
did say that.
Look
I
out.
said-
Look out.
I said, relax there, El Duce.
Okay, so we're here at State College's Quaker Steak and Lube, an excellent place to come anytime, but especially the time of the year we are about to enter, because nothing goes better with football than wings and beer, and State College's Quaker Steak and Lube is an excellent place to get all three, because what were you just telling me before we came on the air?
We have football this weekend and every weekend until the last week, until February.
Yeah, it's awesome. Okay, so I was not expecting to be on today, but I got my little window here since Ironhead's on his way in.
That's 22 straight weeks of football.
This is something I want to ask you about, and this will be my last chance on this program. I think kind of a big game in terms of, college football season potentially, what's going on in the Big Ten, definitely narrative around one of the premier programs in college football. Well, I know you're not going to be here next week.
You talking about us, or are you talking about who you talking about?
Giving you set up for this weekend, week 0, over in the Emerald Isle.
Yes.
Northwestern just debuted the helmets with the Irish flag and the N. I don't know. I'm kind of ambivalent about it. People like it.
I know. I sent it to Tim Freeman, and we were talking on the way over here about Tim Freeman. Freeman's son is a backup quarterback on the team. And I saw that picture on Twitter this morning. Paulie Bepps from the Dan Patrick Show, he shared. That's where I saw it.
Oh, is that right?
And I screenshotted it. I sent it to Tim, and he goes, "Where the hell did you get that?"
I'm meh on it, to be honest with you. But I know a lot of people like it. But you got the N versus the N.
I got you. Didn't think of the ends.
This is such an important game for Nebraska football and Scott Frost.
I agree.
Because if they lose it,
I know we were talking.
I think Nebraska's going to win. I think Nebraska has gotten considerably better this offseason via the transfer portal.
Sure.
But, man, we have heard the song and dance that this is Nebraska's year under Scott Frost before.
I was gonna jump on Ironhead the other day because we started talking about other teams, and I was like, he's been bullish on Nebraska for 3 or 4 years now.
I'm right there with him. I am right there with him, and I'm suckered right back in this year. It's the stupidest thing. I mean, don't listen to me. I have no idea what the hell I'm talking about. It just, to me, it's not like I expected them to be world beaters or anything, but I thought that guy, based on what he did at Oregon and at UCF, ought to be able to get Nebraska to Bo Pelini level of production, right? In the Big Ten West, not exactly murderer's row. True? Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're very right.
Their whole recruiting dynamic changed when they joined the Big Ten.
Because all that Bo Pelini stuff, man, even you go back to Frank Solich. 9-win seasons in the Big 12.
Wins, averaged 10 wins a year, and he got fired. It's just, But to go back, I mean, this is Nebraska. It is still Nebraska, just like people, when we were down for a few years, it was still Penn State. You still had the name. You still had the marquee name and this and that.
And it's just Nebraska like waiting there to be reactivated, right?
And they, I mean, God, how many times do you see who were the best fans in college football? And Nebraska's always number one.
Right. Although it did crack me up when they revealed that sellout streak is being kept alive because a couple of their boosters just keep buying up all the empty seats. Did you see that?
I guess. What else are you going to do with the money, right?
I mean, I'd give it to some players. Do some NIL stuff now. So,
okay, so go back to – so he is saying all of the right stuff. You know what I mean?
He's been doing that since he got here.
I know. You're exactly right. So nothing's really changed about what he said. Did you see what he said about his offensive line?
No.
So Rayola's
about the
So Dominic Raiola was like the wacko center they had.
Sure, I remember.
But his brother, are they Dominic? Who is it?
Dominic was
with crazy one as a brother. Raiola. They're both Nebraska. Was there a Wisconsin one of them? Or they were both Nebraska?
You know what? I think they were both in Nebraska.
Okay.
One of their kids just committed to Ohio State.
And his dad's the O-line coach at Nebraska.
No, it must be the brother's kid.
Okay, well, still, your uncle's the O-line coach at Nebraska, and you're going to go to Ohio State.
Well, I mean, a certain former teammate of yours was a trustee and sent 2 kids to Wisconsin, 2 marquee offensive linemen. I understand we didn't recruit the first one, but anyway, let's not relitigate that. I didn't want to derail you. Dom Raiola, go ahead.
You should have put 2 and 2 together. You recruit the one, you get the other.
I know. I'm with you.
Why do you think I got recruited? They wanted a little puppy. They had the All-American and my older brother. I was just a throw-in to get the puppy to walk on. But Frost is talking about how his offensive line, he has these Raiola is working these guys so hard that they're puking 10 to 12 times a day. And I'm like,
you really can't brag about that these days.
Stupid work, because to me that's insane. That's stupid work because that work should have been done in the summertime to work to get into shape, type of thing. And if you're throwing up from practice from working that hard, then you didn't work that hard.
In August, you got some problems.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And to see that and hear that, I hear him say that, I was like, I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing. I know he's trying to change the face of the program to see how tough they are and how hard they're working, but.
I mean, how many years has he been there?
I know. What is it, 5 years? We're talking about Scott Frost, Jeff. How bullish you've been on him. And I forgot to bring it up on Tuesday, but.
Yeah, Ironhead just rolled in. Listen, man, I told you I was right. I'm right there with you. I have been suckered in by that guy and this team like 2 or 3 years in a row. And I'm going to do it again. I'm going to dive right back in.
Since they signed him, it was like, okay, there's another force out in the Big Ten West. He's going to return Nebraska to their glory. And it has yet to happen.
Again, not exactly the most rigorous challenge to win or at least be competitive in that division.
Gracious.
I mean, I feel like it's a throwback to last year where they opened week 0 versus Illinois. Everybody's like, oh, it's teed right up for Nebraska to start the season on a good note. And then they blew it. They had that disastrous season where they lost. I'm sure you do know that they outscored in aggregate their opponents last year, but it's because they rolled up a couple of the Joker teams and then lost like 7 one-score games.
Goodness, Jesus.
So I mean, law of averages says it ought to even out.
It was like, was it Nebraska that almost had Michigan, and they had a late? Yeah, it was Martinez.
Yeah,
Martinez was playing as a 16th year starting quarterback in Nebraska. You think he would know to cover the ball late in the fourth quarter?
Yeah,
and he's trying to scramble for the extra yard, and he fumbles the ball, Michigan recovers it, kicks a field goal, game over. Like that, it's like how they were losing games, and that's how he lost the game last year.
Over and over and over
last year. That should have gone into overtime type of thing. And Martinez, again, he was there. He's been a quarterback there for 15 years. He should know better, but he doesn't. And is he still there?
No, he is the starting quarterback of Kansas State.
He still has eligibility?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, Nebraska is starting Casey Thompson, the Texas transfer.
Jeez.
So I'm about to a break here to get ahead in here, but huge game for Nebraska. So important. divisional opponent, conference opener, and a chance you win this one. You got two absolute jokers at home after that. Then you got a chance to be 3-0 going into a home game versus Oklahoma.
Correct.
And you feel like you owe them something. And there's been chaos, nothing but chaos at Oklahoma over this offseason. And so that crowd is going to be fired up, and everyone in that organization is going to believe that that's their shot. 3-0. Heading into the Oklahoma game, but they gotta win this Northwestern. They lose
this weekend, it's going to be one of those.
Who you got?
Who do I? I'll take Fitz and Nebraska. I mean, Fitz and Northwestern versus Nebraska.
I got the Huskers and the points.
He's in the motherland, man. Come on.
I got the Huskers and the points. It's the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show. Ironhead in after this. Stay with us.
Make more good in the all-new Sportage X-Pro. Kia, movement that inspires.
Quaker Steak and Lube is throwing open the garage doors and setting up the umbrellas. It's patio season. Come enjoy great food, drinks, and fun in the sun. There's always something happening at Quaker Steak and Lube, but we're really amping up our event calendars for our favorite time of year. Visit thelube.com to find out what's happening at your local lube this season. Lunch, happy hour, dinner, or late night, indoors or outside, at Quaker Steak and Lube, you'll always find big flavors, friendly faces, and lots of
Let's
fun.
take college fights are back home Saturday to start a season-ending homestand. Game time is 6:35 p.m. as the Spikes take on Williamsport, and the first 1,000 fans will receive a Roman Bravo Young bobblehead giveaway presented by the McClure Company. Plus, RBY himself will be on hand to meet and greet fans and sign autographs. After the game, the skies light up with a spectacular post-game fireworks from the field show presented by the McClure Company. For tickets, call 814-272-1711 or buy and download at statecollegespikes.com.
What's the best mid-size pickup? Tacoma. What's the #1 mid-size truck in resale value? Tacoma. Want to get great gas mileage, 4 doors, and 4-wheel drive? Tacoma. Sioka Toyota of Williamsport has over 25 available right now. You can lease a brand new, never-driven Toyota Tacoma for just $379 a month. That's 30 months, 3,000 cash or trade, 10,000 miles a year. This is while supplies last. Buy yours or reserve yours today and see the Sioka difference. And remember, tell them Johnny sent you.
And we welcome you back in as we go to the bullpen and
bring in the Ironhead.
Yeah, I feel like about ready to give up 10 runs is what I think is going to happen here.
New name up for Chris. You weren't here when I said it. He's El Buche.
Yeah,
the Italian Godfather. El Buche.
I like it. I want to start. I don't know what all. I obviously caught the tail end of the Nebraska discussion, but did just want to throw out a quick congratulations to Hollidaysburg and the Little League run that that team had. Came to an end last night. But boy, what a great! I mean, great is understating the accomplishments of that team. And it was neat. I mean, it feels like kind of our area, right? Like outside of our immediate area, but next door. And it was just cool to see. And it's always fun to, when State College had its great run there.
That's where
the controversial end and all of that. But it's special stuff when you get a team, even just from your state, advancing
absolutely
that far at the Little League World Series. So
congratulations. I have a buddy who grew up there, and he says they must have come a long way from my booger picking for fat first baseman back when I played. But they were fun to watch. They played well together.
They were really fun too.
It's just the whole thing has always been fun to watch. But my goodness, some of these teams, my Lord. The Hawaii team, my goodness gracious, they're stacked. So, and I would like to know the financial impact of between Hollidaysburg and Williamsport. So, I wonder if there's any carryover into the State College halfway, stopping off at filling up and getting food
had to be at least a little bit, right?
I'm sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Had to be some.
Those people were wearing that road out for a week.
Yeah, we need maybe next year. We need to look into maybe taking the show there.
Maybe
but
if Booch, the
fact that neither of us have been there is just ridiculous, and I feel like we need to make that happen one way or another.
I have said it ever since I got done playing and coaching. I mean, obviously, when you were involved with football and stuff like that, you were doing a lot more, and it was tough to get there. You couldn't get there, really. So, but now I'm not doing anything other than this. I mean, the fact that we're not there is crazy. Now the Phillies are playing there next year.
Although I'm breaking into the coaching ranks this fall, Goon. So be my first coaching gig, flag football.
Oh, yep. Mad Turtle is out there running shop.
Yep, man. It's going to be interesting, to say the least. We start the
Ironhead
Wednesday after
chairs,
Labor Day. I will not have you embarrass me.
Mother's like,
I will do that on my own. Thank you very much.
Jeff, Coach Byers, I don't know if my son's playing enough. Shut up. He's not playing at all. He stinks.
Have you seen him the way he tries to grab flags? Come on.
Are you serious?
Can't play that.
Who taught this kid how to tackle? Lord almighty.
No,
but I mean, so I wanted to bring this up Tuesday, and it's funny that Booch brought it up with that. That is the Nebraska thing. So
yeah,
my thing is that we have football this weekend from now until the first weekend of February, when there's no game in between the Super Bowl and the title game. So,
yep, life is good.
Life is back to normal. But for years you've been bullish on the Nebraska Cornhuskers, and this is a great opportunity for them. And it's Nebraska versus Northwestern, so they should go out there. It's the parallels between us and Nebraska right now. They're playing Purdue. Purdue can be an up-and-coming team. They have been there. They haven't been there type of thing, just like Northwestern.
Yeah.
But he needs that win. He really does. I mean, I know that Nebraska has the best fans, and they're the classiest fans in the world and country and all this and all that. But, I mean, they got to start turning on them eventually. I mean, they turned on Frank Solich with 10-win seasons.
Yeah.
And Bo Pelini.
Well, yeah.
I mean, geez.
Ran him out of town.
Now they're crying. But, I mean, it goes back to what I've been saying for a couple of years. I mean, the whole dynamic of recruiting changes when you deal with a different conference. And they have not caught up. They have not. And then Oklahoma and Texas leaving to go to the SEC. That's sort of their fertile recruiting grounds.
Yeah.
Are those areas. And they're not getting kids out of there. Iowa kids are going to Iowa. Yeah, Nebraska's in some trouble. They could be in some deep, deep trouble.
Yeah, I mean, it is an important season for Frost for sure, and for that program. But the difficult thing is, I still think Scott Frost is a good football coach, and I think he's a good recruiter, but it all becomes relative, right? Like, I mean, he was in obviously very fertile ground in Central Florida, and the competition that they were playing obviously is not the same as what you're facing in the Big Ten, and that's why I always caution Penn State fans who, James Franklin's not a good game day coach. This recruiting better pay off, or you got to get rid of him. That sounds wonderful. Sounds good. Yep, my God, the results. Who are you going to get in here that you think is going to recruit as well as Franklin has and be the game day guru that you're seeking? Because
they're usually hired already. So
yeah, there are not many of them out there that can do it at the highest level, right? Again, I think Scott Frost, and he may still yet capture magic in Lincoln, but
correct.
It's really hard if you don't get off to a good start. I keep going back with James Franklin. That 2016 season was everything in so many different ways, and the way that ended up developing. Because if that season ends up being just another 500 type campaign, again, I think Franklin's still a good recruiter, and I think he's a better coach than what I think many fans will give him credit for. But leaving that aside, I'm not sure that this program has the sustained success prior to the last two seasons, right? Because it becomes and we've talked about it, Goon. It's that momentum thing. And, that 2016 campaign just kind of launched good things. And even though the last couple of seasons have not been great as far as the results on the field, the recruiting has remained excellent. Yes. And it feels like the program is positioned well to not miss a beat if you don't count the last two seasons. I mean, I get it as far as it goes. But when you look at like a 10-year period, the opportunity is certainly there for this program to say, all right, it was 10 really solid years, except, we had the 2-year struggle there with the pandemic, right? I mean, but that momentum thing is such a big deal. And I just think for whatever reason, and there were a lot of close losses last year. It's you win a couple of those and maybe there's a different feeling, and maybe that happens this year. You win those close games and you get that jump start, but you're competing against an established coach in Iowa, an established coach at Northwestern, and I'm just talking about their division right now, an established coach in Wisconsin, all successful, solidly successful. One of the rising stars at Minnesota, right? I mean, for a couple of years there, he was the talk of college football. And so you can be really good and still be, and that's, we've talked about it with James Franklin and Penn State too. And I get it. You want to measure yourself against Ohio State, and that is the standard bearer, and that's where you want to be. And I have no problem with that. But it's, the same thing that you ran into for a while as a Steelers fan with Mike Tomlin and Bill Belichick. It's like, well, Tomlin's no Belichick. They don't beat the Patriots. Right. Well, nobody was beating the Patriots. Like, that was the standard bearer. And again, I get it. Steelers fans want the Steelers to be the standard bearer. Penn State fans want Penn State to be the standard bearer. But, outside of Ohio State, Alabama, Clemson, and Oklahoma, I mean, Penn State from 2016 on is right in the mix with the next contending teams as far as overall record, accolades, and that's even with the last two seasons. Again, probably now 10 to 12 in that period as far as where you'd put them in a power ranking type of thing. But that's still pretty remarkable given where the program was. And again, it's this season and the next couple of years are really big. I have no question about it as far as the program being able to accomplish what you would expect it to accomplish with the recruiting classes that it's had. But again, it is difficult, man. Forget Ohio State. It's just difficult to be above 500 in a conference like the Big Ten when you look, and we've talked about it, and it's the same thing in the SEC, but I think the Big Ten has even deeper coaching right now across the board, and pretty close to the same overall talent level, I would argue, as the SEC. But again, you can be a good recruiter, a good coach, and be a 500 team in the Big Ten pretty consistently, because you're going against a juggernaut of a program in Ohio State, an outstanding recruiter in James Franklin, a guy that's had NFL success in a big way in Jim Harbaugh. Programs that are very well established at Wisconsin and Iowa, and you go on and on. Maryland's, great coach there. Rutgers has a great coach, for crying out loud. I mean,
I think we're at the point now where it's with James and this team it's the same stuff that happens over and over that they want to see changed. As a fan, we can sit there and say he's a great recruiter. Yes, he's a good recruiter. His game day is called into question, isn't that? But I'm not. I'm going to tell you, I'll put anybody up there Sunday to Friday. Saturdays are this and that. He is what it is. But if he learns so many kinds of mistakes that he's had the last 2 years, and that is my thing, is if we go right down this same path and lose a couple games, and it just seems like we don't want to play anymore, then it's time to move on. And I don't even think we're remotely even close there. So that's where I'm at with our program right now, and that is fair. Is that, like, Scott Frost, it's like they're giving him a lot of leash in this and that, but if they go down and they lose those close games again, that's starting to become a habit now. Like, what is going on? Why can he not win those close games? I'm talking about Scott Frost, not James Franklin. So Frost needs to win some close games, first of all, to get that bugaboo off of his back, because that's going to be held over his head.
Sure.
And then James he's got to have these kids out there playing all the time, every game. And like I said, it just seems like you get to learn from what has happened in the past. And I mean, I'm going back to 2016. You just did, but I mean, you talked about how we started off 2-2, got smoked out of Michigan.
Yeah.
Then you go on a hot streak because of what? He got hot. I mean, I'm telling you, I was at a party and they were playing Minnesota that day, if you recall.
Yeah.
And it went to overtime. Had they lost that game, I don't think James would have made that season. I mean, honest to God, I really don't think that. I think that people were just that fed up at that point where we're not. And then he goes on that miraculous. We go on that miraculous run and this and that. He has a hell of a job. Wins the Big Ten, goes to the Rose Bowl. All this and all that. Now, where are we at now? And again, I go back to he needs to learn from the mistakes he's had in the last years. If they keep on happening, you keep on losing games. Close games where you guys aren't playing hard or tough, then there might be time to move on. With Frost, it's, are they going to win any kind of close games? Because they haven't the last few years, and that's his bugaboo.
And I will say this about the Big Ten is, and I think it's a good thing. Fans, I guess, could debate either way, but I do think there is more patience in the Big Ten. And listen, it paid off for Jim Harbaugh and the Wolverines,
sure
at least to a large extent. I mean, I get what happened in the playoffs, but I mean, that's a pretty substantial reward for the ongoing calls.
You think he was going
that some had? I don't know.
He took the pay cuts and all that.
Yep.
So did that save his job?
I mean, it obviously factored in pretty heavily. I don't think there's any question about that.
So if we're all out there, Harbaugh,
but I think
he did not have much of a salary last year. He took all incentives if he won the Big Ten, played for the Big Ten, and played into the playoffs. So he made millions that way. So but he didn't have that big of a salary.
But there are a lot of big time programs that I just would not have waited. I mean, there are programs that are moving on after 2 years.
Right, yeah.
And again, depending on the situation, I don't even necessarily think that's if you feel as an athletic director and a university president that, you know what, this just isn't the right guy, make the move. If you feel like, no, this is a really good coach we have, but the results aren't there after 2 years, and you make the move, I think that's a problem.
Yeah.
You're not.
Now your team,
you're not recognizing
your
what you have.
Is known for that. The Steelers. I mean, people talk about Cowher. I mean, not Cowher, but Tomlin. He's this and this and that. I said the fact that Cowher lasted as long as he did, not having the success that Tomlin has had.
Yeah,
that is a testament to the Steelers and their foundation and their history and their tradition. And I think Nebraska's in that way. I mean, that's your team, the Steelers.
Yep.
Very, very. You're not going to fire a guy after 3 years, Notre Dame style. Charlie Weiss, he's not making it. It's gone. I mean, they're not going to make any rash decisions, and I don't think Nebraska has. But
no, but I don't think there are a lot of programs with the history and tradition of Michigan and Nebraska that would be as patient. And again, from my perspective, it's a good thing. For the conference and for the programs.
Wasn't Scott Frost, I think he'd be gone.
Oh, I think that's a very safe bet.
That's a testament to them, though. That's a good job by them to hang on, and I hope they succeed. Honest to God, as much as I don't like Nebraska, what happened to me and my team, it's not Nebraska's fault.
Right.
I mean, I'm on record as saying that 1,000 times. They did what they had to do, and they did it. They did what they had to do. I can't fault them. I can't fault the university. I can fault the system. Keeping us down, man.
Pretty flawed system.
Absolutely. And we're still talking about a flawed system here 30-some years later. I mean, it's unfreaking believable.
Yes. Yes, it is.
So do you think let me think now. I won't be here next week. So We want to talk about our season. That's fine. We could do that. But who were you thinking? Any kind of like is Cincinnati making that next step type of thing? You know, who was a surprise team to you this year? Has anybody jumped out at you? Yeah, has anybody jumped out at you like, oh, okay, well, look out for those guys? And I think that Utah is taking that next step. I watched that Rose Bowl last night. The Utah-Ohio State game that was this past year. Yeah. It was like 912 to 888 total was the final score. I mean, my God. But I think that Utah is like going to be that, like they're beyond where Boise State ever got. I think that they're a step above where Boise State has gotten. And they're playing Pac-12, right? They're straight Pac-12. So I think that where Boise State was 10, 15 years ago when they were the darlings, which, by the way, have we ever really compared Penn State 68 through to mid-70s to like those teams? But that's exactly what Joe was going through. Like they couldn't, get into that national picture because they didn't have the respect of, they're out there. Right. Boise State's out there playing in the WAC and Utah's playing in the WAC and then moves to the Pac-12. I think the similarities between what Joe went through here in 68, 69 undefeated, 73 undefeated, and not really getting any kind of national prowess until 78. Have you ever thought about that?
I haven't, but
it has to
be for a little bit.
Obviously. Yeah, Booch might have been.
Yeah, I'd have to delve into that a little more because my gut instinct, and I don't know that nationally the perception may be what you're saying. I don't think Boise State was playing the schedule that Penn State was, even in 68 and 69. I think some of the teams on that schedule were better than what national pollsters may have been giving credit for.
I thought the East didn't get any kind of credit for football
in general in those days. That's very true.
Damn it.
Yeah, I'll have to think that one through a little bit.
I just made me think the other day we're watching the Boise State and we're talking. Me and my wife were talking about like Cincinnati coming out of nowhere, and then like I don't know what
the two teams
I was with talking about the early school Joe Pa teams and like how they had I think my wife said, wait, we win national titles in 68, 69? And I said, no. I said, we got, Joe had 7 undefeated teams and only won 1 national title with an undefeated team, which is beyond crazy to think about nowadays. But
it is. It's crazy to think about it any day in any sport.
Yeah.
So, but such was the nature of the beast.
I did hear something recently that the 2012 team will be honored this year. There is something now in line. Now they're adding alcohol to this system. Is there something to do with that? What's going on there? Nah, man. So it's funny. What are your thoughts on the alcohol in the stadium thing?
More of it, especially after the last 2 seasons.
We need
there needs to be a spigot at each seat. Is the way. Honestly, we talked when I was doing the radio show, and this is going back. Well, it was the summer before West Virginia started allowing alcohol in, and we talked a lot about it over that summer, and it's everybody always envisions worst case scenario. Not everybody. The people that are against these things always envision worst case scenario, and it's just it's the same thing with the casino moving in. In here. It's the same thing with alcohol being allowed to be sold in the grocery stores. And listen, I am not going to deny that there is a downside to all of that, but there is also some upside. And I will just tell you that in the studies, now I haven't looked in the last. It wouldn't have changed because we haven't had fans in the stands for the last couple of years. The studies showed, and West Virginia was a premier example, and I'll have to go back and dig up, but I mean, we went through the research that they did, but it's a lot less problems with alcohol since they allowed alcohol sales in the stadium. And there's a couple of things that go into that.
Yes.
One is that
argument.
Right now at Penn State, for example, right, you see it. There are kids, and I may or may not have been one of them when I was a student, and even after a student. There are kids who the sole purpose of going up to the game is to get plastered beforehand. So they're going into the game absolutely hammered because they know they're not going to be able to drink during the game. And they are
half hour before the game, they're pounding beers, pounding shots.
And so they get in there, and I mean, they are hammered. They don't know where they are. They don't know what they're doing. The whole thing.
That's not you, Ironhead.
No, I had friends. I had friends that did that. And what the West Virginia and other studies show, but West Virginia's study showed the number of incidents in the stadium dropped pretty dramatically over the first year and the first couple of years that they had alcohol sales in the stadium, because people were not as determined to get absolutely trashed before they go into the game. And the thing is, once you go into the game, it's still stadium priced beers. So yes, you can get beer, but you're not very many students are going to be pounding $10 beers over the course of a football game. So you almost have to self-regulate to some degree the amount of alcohol that you are consuming. But because, again, there's not that determination that we've got to get it all in before we go into the stadium. And so, again, the problems have been reduced, and that was across the board. West Virginia was the closest, most glaring example, and there were all kinds of people envisioning what kinds of problems were going to occur. But I mean, that's been the case. And you just think about it, Goon. I mean, are there problems at pro stadiums? For sure. No. But it's not. But it really isn't like an overwhelming prevalent thing at pro stadiums. And again, it's several things are in play there, but. Again, part of it is that, the beers are expensive, and so you're going to take a little bit of time to enjoy that beer at the stadium. And you also, I mean, there are people keeping their eyes on you too. And, until you get to that point of no return, you're aware of that. And most people keep their behavior in check as a result.
We're not worried about pricing because we're going to make it part of the student loan program. And obviously, that's getting washed away. So drink up, kids. Have whatever the hell you want. It's on the rest of us. Yeah. No, but because the guy I was talking with this week, talking about, and you must have been listening to the Pittsburgh sports station like he does, and they were talking about how incidences have gone down in the stadium because they've actually have alcohol in the stadium now. It's almost like the kids aren't just literally out in the parking lot just getting blotto drunk because they know they can't have a drink for 4 hours.
And listen, from an economic standpoint,
I'm not a Karen, but I always say that to some people. Like, I mean, really, you have to go in the game like fall down,
right? Because
you're not getting a beer for 3 hours, and then you're going to go have 8 more hours to drink. I mean, again, I'm not a Karen, but it always blew my mind a little bit.
Yeah, and the other reality is that. There is an economic component here, and you're hurting yourself by not selling alcohol in the stadium from an economic standpoint. And, when you have the volume of fans that Penn State does, and even if that number continues to shrink, right, the sales, the in-stadium profit margin can be at least maintained, if not greatly increased, with the sales of alcohol.
Historically, what did they say about on-campus alcohol sales in stadiums? Do you remember what they said? They said it was illegal. You remember that? You couldn't have alcohol sales on campus, and because it was an NCAA rule. It's a lie. There's no such rule at all. Maybe during the NCAA basketball tournaments, if it was an on-campus arena, they didn't have alcohol sales at the NCAA basketball tournament, but nowhere was there ever a law saying you couldn't have alcohol in your stadiums on college. It was just one of those things that nobody really did it. And I think that Texas started this trend about 5 years ago. Was it Texas? And I believe that they made $7 to $10 million the first year just profit on alcohol sales. I think I personally think it was just beer sales. So you're not adding in any kind of liquor or wine or anything like that. It was just straight beer sales that they made $7 to $10 million. So $1 million a game is what they're going to profit. That's what that was at Texas at a 70,000 seat arena. You know, I mean, they don't drink that much down there. I think we drink a lot more around here. So no, but I mean, you're talking about $10 million a game. I mean, $10 million a season. That's a pretty good profit margin. And how can you say no to that? Now, and you know they're going to regulate it. I mean, anybody who's been to the Bryce Jordan Center for a basketball game or a concert, the rules on it are insane. You go to Pagula with the hockey arena, you got to have a wristband on. You get three. Have you been?
Yeah, it's the same thing at the Spice Games, and you know, a lot of places that have that similar.
No. With the three stickers on there, and you got to pull them off. Like you're only allowed to have 3 beers when you get to bed at the Pagula. Up in the suite levels, when they allowed alcohol sales up there, when you proved that you were 21, you got a bracelet just like the Spikes.
Yeah.
So you got to put it on your right wrist. But then this one had 3 tabs on it, 1, 2, and 3. So when you got a beer, or if you bought and you got Marissa a drink, they took 2 of those things off of you because you're only allowed 3 a person.
Gotcha.
And that's and it was they're probably not going to allow sales after the third quarter. Once the fourth quarter starts, just like most NFL stadiums are the same way. I think it won't be a problem. I really, really, really don't think it'll be a problem. And in the long run, it's going to be a benefit because, again, there's a nice little influx of $10 million there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
Money right now, aren't we? New TV deals, alcohol sales. Jeez. The problem is you got to keep it. You don't want to spend it all like others wanted to for a couple of years here. We shall see. No, but how do you say no to something like that? You know, if it's available to you, what was keeping us from doing it?
I think it was 2 things. One is that the perception that you are promoting alcohol on a college campus, right? I mean, and there are many fans that did and do and will have a problem with that.
Are we dry campus still? There's no bar in the hub. Some campuses have.
It's the most amazing thing. So, quick story about that. The first time I ever went to Madison,
get out of my head, Ironhead.
Well,
get out of my head.
So the funny thing about it, so we went, and mind you, I'm in my 20s at the time. In fact, I'm trying to think. We might have. I don't remember now. It might have been the second time actually I was at Madison. Anyways, a buddy of mine had a cousin that lived there, and it's like, and again, we're early 20s, ready to party. Let's do this upright, paint the town red. It is Madison after all, the whole bit. And so we go out there, and it's like, all right, I'm ready to hit the scene, man. It's like, all right, we'll meet you at the student hub. I'm forgetting the name of the building. I'm like, what?
Are we going to Chick-fil-A? Going to get a Sbarro or something?
I'm like, no, like we're here to party, man. Like we're in a couple of days early, so we can go out. He's like, yeah, I'll meet you at the student union.
You're like, again.
I'm like, what in the world are we doing? So I'm like miserable. I mean, I'm copping an attitude on the way over because I'm like, I don't understand. Like, there's a great bar scene in downtown Madison. What are we doing, man? So we get there, and there's a pool hall downstairs, and we're playing pool, and his cousin's already there. He's like, hey, I got one pitcher. Did you guys want another? I just got whatever it was, Miller Lite, whatever. I'm like, wait, you what?
This is beautiful.
And he's like,
Did you sneak that in there? No.
So we're watching this. It was a great band, local band. They're playing. We're playing pool. We have beer, and we walk up and go out onto the balcony and onto the waterfront. Their student union, the deck there is on the waterfront. And so then the conversation turned to, how in the world does anybody graduate from this place? If you can go to the student union and you have this view and beer and pool and great music, like, how exactly do you guys ever study? But
you used to get a jogie at the down in the hub, and now you're out here drinking. Well, isn't there a bar on campus on the stadium grounds that you can look right out onto the field
at Madison?
Yeah, there's a beer garden right in on the stadium, like on our sideline, if you look to the left, there's a bunch of cheeseheads over there drinking, and it's just like, damn it. This is beautiful. That's why I saw Joe's legs snap in 92 places. Ooh.
Yeah.
Yikes. No, but I was amazed by it. But, yeah, I mean, I think we still go back. I mean, our liquor laws are still archaic in Pennsylvania. I mean, we still are founded by Quakers, and it's like they still want to hang on to some kind of that kind of something. And it's just like, why? For years, we've been avoiding $10 to $15 million because of what? And the people, if it's just 3 beers at $9 a pop, it's $27 a person, and you're paying $1 a beer. Congratulations, you made $20. Just say you're making $20 on a person. 50,000 people are drinking. There you go. It's ridiculous.
Yep.
It's absolutely ridiculous. To say no to that for years and then not even – because I was under the impression that it was an illegal thing for any on-campus stadium or arena to sell alcohol sales. And no, it sure as hell wasn't. It's not really – it's not a law. It's not a rule. It was a made-up rule, I guess. But because I remember, if I recall, when we were in school, I think that on-campus stadiums, like Miami was off-campus, so they were drinking at the Orange Bowl. But I think the only place that really had alcohol sales was Colorado, I think. For an on-campus, I'm strictly saying an on-campus stadium, I think that Colorado was one of the only places that actually sold alcohol, because I know that Coliseum out of USC, they were selling beer. On campus, though.
I think the radio booth at Beaver Stadium was also for a number of years.
You know my story, right?
Well, you have so many. I'm not sure if I know this.
George and Fran. Me being a little kid. So,
go ahead.
Like Caddy Corner right now. You know where the We Are statue is right now?
Yeah.
If Caddy Corner to that is Bryce Jordan Center. So Caddy Corner from Pagula or Shields Building or whatever you'd say.
Yeah.
That little spot right there. It's now a parking lot area right there. That's when my parents tailgated from 83 to 86. 83 to 80, yeah. So a lot of families were up there. That's where a lot of the families would congregate. But sure as hell, George and Fran, that would be their last stop. I mean, last stop before they got in their cars and headed home, and it was you caught them at the end of a long shift. And Fran would be like, geez, all the time. Fran would come to the tailgate, geez, look at the size of this kid now. My God. And her mom would be like, yeah, he's 11. Every week he would say the same thing. Hey, look at the size of this kid. And he's like, you met him last week, Fran. Oh, yeah, But George would be there, and George and Fran, every week they would stop by the tailgate, and it was fantastic. You couldn't leave until they stopped by. And again, like I said, they were definitely at the end of a shift, a long day shift when they were at our tailgate. So, just funny stuff.
Yep,
the good old days, man.
Yes, indeed.
The press box. Yeah, there was a tap in there. What would you call it? What would you call a distillery in there where you're making outlaw moonshine? I think they were making some outlaw shine in there. They had a still in there.
Yeah. There's some great stories from over the years.
You know what I found, Jeff?
Broadcasting seems to bring it out of people. I will say that.
There were some great ones back in the day. Remember Madden and Summerall? Summerall was half in the bag every time he was calling games. And he learned that with him and Tommy Brookshire. I mean, they were in there hammered back in the day.
Well, so there are some people that believe Harry Carey may have had a beer or two over the course of his career. A couple of people suspect that could be.
And every once in a while, they'll send me a picture, and he's standing there with a fishing net with a white beater on and a pair of Joe boxers, not like Joe boxers, like a pair of boxer shorts, like from the Monty Capoletti wore in Easy Money. So I have to tell you this, and so when we bought Damon's and made it into Letterman's and all that stuff in 2014, I found a DVD. You're not going to believe this, and I don't have it. And I don't know how the hell I could ever find it again. I found a burnt, somebody had burnt the 86 Fiesta Bowl television copy, but they put Fran and George on the call. So you didn't hear Bob Tippy or whoever, Jimmy Cephalo or whoever. I know Cephalo did the 87 Miami game, but I remember putting it on, and I'm like, holy shit, I'm listening to Fran Fisher and George Paterno call the 80s, because you don't hear it. You never hear it. and it got lost in the move and all that stuff. And I was like, oh, because I go back on it, that would be worth a ton of money to get a version of that. Had they had it synced up perfect to radio, the television, but they hit their call of that game, and it was George is just sitting there, and he's like, really don't know what he's doing. Really don't know what he's doing. He don't know what he's doing. He's seeing ghosts out there. He keeps on saying it. And it was sure as hell. It was the damn honest truth. I mean, yeah. But those two were outstanding. We've had great.
They were fun.
I mean, you've had great announcers in your life growing up, and I mean, even we can break Steve Jones' balls all we want because he's it's fun to break his chops and this and that. But he's so good at what he does. It's amazing.
He's phenomenal.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, his recall is ridiculous. Jim Nantz is the only person, even nationally, that is comparable in terms of the ability to recall from 25 years ago the exact moment that. And they both have photographic memories, which
crazy.
is
So I'll
a wonderful gift to have. God, I wish I had a memory, let alone a photographic memory.
Steve tells me what I was doing on certain plays and certain games, and I'm like, well, if you say it, Steve, and I believe you. I trust you. You're right.
Yeah.
So who was I going to say? But memory-wise, so when I was coaching, we played out at Purdue. I think Curtis Painter was quarterbacking back in the day then, so that's how long ago it was. And they had a late play in the game where they doing the flea flicker, like pitching the ball to offensive linemen, tight ends, running backs, this and that. And they had like 7 or 8. And I'm like listening to like somebody was like, listen to this this tape. And Steve Jones is literally calling out, and they're pitching the ball. Like, it's just like, I don't know who that guy is, but he knows exactly who every freaking guy is. And Buchagnani passes it back to Byers, and Byers passes to Connor, the horses over here. Yep. And you're just like, dude, how do you know that? How do you know that third string tight end and that second team offensive tackle? How do you know that? And he just boom, 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 and didn't skip a beat. And that's when I was like, this guy is absolutely amazing.
He is. He's phenomenal.
Who replaced Fran? Because Fran went away from 86 to 90, and he came back in 94.
Yeah, there were a couple people. I'll
put you on the spot. Sorry.
No, Ray Scott was in there at one point. Now I'm going to get mixed up on the order here. Bill Zimfer was in there, and now I'm
now Stan
there was a time when
stadium,
I knew all of this. No, Stan did it for I think one season.
Just
there.
The stadium.
No, he did the radio.
Oh, but didn't he do the first down and 10 from the 28?
He may have done that too.
The PA speaker. I thought Stan did that.
That I don't.
Gotcha.
You may be right about that. I don't remember.
That's Dean DeVore now.
Yeah.
No, but we've been blessed. I mean, I was blessed growing up. I mean, I had Harry Callis, Merrill Reese, Gene Hart. I mean, I listen to these guys call games, and what's his name? Dave Zinkoff. You don't remember him, Boots. You're too young. The doctor. You remember Dave Zinkoff down in Philly?
No,
he was the PA announcer.
PA, okay.
And he would just be screaming, that was Julius Erving. It was unbelievable. He had the whole place rocking the whole game. So I was blessed growing up. And then you have Fran and George back in the day. My Lord.
They were fun broadcasts. I will say that.
Did you work with them at all?
No, not directly.
You would travel with
Fran,
them?
No, Fran, I did a couple of events with Fran. I don't think we ever did any kind of. I had him as a guest on our show, but I mean, I don't think we ever did any.
Because I've heard the night before
broadcast of an event together. Oh yeah, well,
I've heard the legendary nights before. It was George held court at the bar in the hotel.
Yes, you would check in, and usually there, but yeah, George was always there, and then yes, you could
because the old man used to have the reporters in like the night before,
correct,
off the record,
yeah, yeah, and that kind of got.
It's funny. Brendan tells that story. Brendan tells that he started off as the snot-nosed punk from the Collegian, and then took a couple deep breaths, and they turned around, and then he was like, "Oh God, I'm the lead. I'm the old reporter here."
Yeah, it is amazing how that changes over the years, seemingly very quickly. Quick thoughts, Goon, on Purdue and with you not being here next week. What you're expecting and what you're looking for in that first game.
I just think that just looking at James's attitude in this offseason and that, he just doesn't look like he's comfortable with where he's at. I think he's a little pissed off about how the last 2 years have gone, in my opinion. And I've been stroking him about how good the last few months now about how I think that he opens seasons very well when he has something to game plan for and can plan for, like Wisconsin last year. Now, Wisconsin gave that game away to Penn State last year, but again, we're still Penn State. We still have to go out to Purdue, treat them like Purdue. They're the up-and-coming team. I get it, but you're still Penn State. You still got to go out there and play your game and just impose your will. Very interested. Again, I go back to it's Clifford. Is he the guy from the first 4 games of last year? And if so, it's going to be a great, fun season. It really is. I mean, a Kerry Collins, Joe Burrows type of fifth-year senior type, or Kenny Pickett type of thing. Or if he doesn't, if he's getting beat up out there and getting hurt again, then we're in for a long freaking season. So the run game is the passing game. The running game is the best friend of the quarterback's passing game. And if we don't have a running game, we're in deep doo-doo. But I think that we're going to vastly improve with our running game. I really do. I'm always half full type of guy. So defensively, I don't think that people are giving PJ Mustafa enough credit. I think that me and you have talked about this enough and how just the team lost its mojo on defense out there. They didn't have their leader. They didn't have a guy who was in the huddle saying, let's make a blickety blank, stop. You know, I don't think we had those guys out there last year. And I think that the guys we did have would have got in line with if PJ was out there running and still playing on defense.
Yeah, to me the issue, and I don't really think it's an issue because of exactly what you just talked about with Clifford and Mustafa and the leadership on this team. To me, the biggest thing for Penn State is to match the energy level that Purdue is going to bring. And I just can't imagine that this team, with the chip that it has to have, I mean, this program has to have a chip on its shoulder right now, right? Yeah. After the last 2 years, and you're not ranked, and you're wanting to play for a national title, right? I mean, that's why these kids are coming here. Is James Franklin selling them on? Listen, you work your tail off. I'm going to do everything I can to get you to the NFL, and we're going to try to play for a national title, and that's why we want you here. You need to be part of that. So. You're not ranked, and I think rightfully so. By the way, I don't have a problem with them not being ranked with where they're at after the last 2 seasons. But when you look at the leadership on this team, the energy that the new coaches, some of the new players are bringing into the program, like I just can't envision a scenario where this team goes out and like it did, with Pitt in that 2016 game. I mean, Pitt was up here and Penn State was here at the start of that game as far as the energy level, and it ultimately cost Penn State the game. Purdue is going to be up here. Yep. Those fans, that team is ready, and they are fired up. But I think Penn State in this situation is going to be equal, and Penn State is the more talented team. I mean, there's no way around that when you look at the two rosters. And so, to me, again, as long as they come out, and I just can't envision this team not coming out and matching that energy level, I think Penn State wins the game. The two things I am most curious to see is, can Penn State create turnovers defensively and, really get momentum going that way? And then, like everybody, I want to see that running game. I want to see if Penn State can, at least against Purdue. And again, they could go out and rush for 200 yards, and I'm still going to be in wait-and-see mode until they get to an Ohio State or a Michigan and get some of those tough yards. But at least be encouraged if they can get a back over 100 yards, let's say, in a game, let alone the first game of the season. So I think that's something that has to be something that is a focus, right? I mean, if I'm James Franklin, this whole preseason, I'm pounding into the offensive line and the running backs that, listen, nobody thinks you're going to get 100 yards. Nobody thinks that you guys can, right? Like they more than anybody on that in the program or on the team have to be playing with that chip on their shoulder. And again, but it's got to produce results. It's one thing to, yes, by God, I'm go do it. Go do it. And there's an opportunity to do that a week from tonight. We'll see you the week after.
Yeah, big news coming from Booch next week. Something we've been working on. So
awesome.
Yeah, buddy.
And we'll have that
I'll
news.
check in from the beach in Carolina
And talk to you on Tuesday. Until then, be good and be safe.
Make more good in the all-new Sportage X-Pro. Kia, movement that inspires.
Quaker Steak and Lube is throwing open the garage doors and setting up the umbrellas. It's patio season. Come enjoy great food, drinks, and fun in the sun. There's always something happening at Quaker Steak and Lube, but we're really amping up our event calendars for our favorite time of year. Visit thelube.com to find out what's happening at your local lube this season. Lunch, happy hour, dinner, or late night, indoors or outside, at Quaker Steak and Lube, you'll always find big flavors, friendly faces, and lots of fun.
Let's take college spikes are back home Saturday to start a season-ending homestand. Game time is 6:35 p.m. as the Spikes take on Williamsport, and the first 1,000 fans will receive a Roman Bravo Young bobblehead giveaway presented by the McClure Company. Plus, RBY himself will be on hand to meet and greet fans and sign autographs. After the game, the skies light up with a spectacular post-game fireworks from the field show presented by the McClure Company. For tickets, call 814-272-1711 or buy and download at statecollegespikes.com.
What's the best mid-size pickup? Tacoma. What's the #1 mid-size truck in resale value? Tacoma. Want to get great gas mileage, 4 doors, and 4-wheel drive? Tacoma. Sioka Toyota of Williamsport has over 25 available right now. You can lease a brand new, never-driven Toyota Tacoma for just $379 a month. That's 30 months, 3,000 cash or trade, 10,000 miles a year. This is while supplies last. Buy yours or reserve yours today and see the Sioka difference. And remember, tell them